Today's PD session is going to be on Fast and the Curious, Vocab Fun. You can also use it for other things besides vocab, and we'll get into that the further we get in with this concept. You might be asking, what are edu protocols? Edu protocols aim to foster a supportive and close-knit environment between students and teachers by using versatile, hands-on lesson plans that can easily be adjusted to teach any curricular area. So we're going to dive into the Fast and the Curious and see what that is all about. The Fast and the Curious Edu Protocol is ideal if you want students to learn new information, such as math facts, states and capitals, vocab words. The Edu Protocol takes 4 class days total, ideally beginning on a Monday, but you can begin at any day of the week. And it only uses a short amount of time each day. Why is it called the Fast and the Curious? So this Edu Protocol is a fast way to expose kids to words or problems, which saves classroom time. And second, people are curious about their own abilities. So that's why it's called the Fast and the Curious. These are some of the items that this Edu Protocol can replace. It can replace spelling tests, vocab quizzes and tests, homework, such as vocab, phonics and grammar, capitals and states, those fill-in-the-blank worksheets, science concepts, and much more. The Edu Protocol plan is laid out in 2 steps here. This is the first step, is you're going to use Quizzes or Blookit, or you can even use Pear Deck's Flashcard Factory. And you're going to create a quiz with either your vocab words or your content area. The quiz stays the same each day. So you would create your quiz, and then on day 1, the students, without any review or anything for that content material, they're going to play the quiz. Immediately when the class is done, you are going to go through and review the missed concepts that your students did not do well on during that quiz. As soon as you're done reviewing the missed concepts, the students are going to play the quiz immediately again. Day 2 and day 3 are laid out the exact same way. The students play the quiz, you're going to review missed concepts, and then they're going to play the quiz again. Day 4 is what is different. The students are going to play the quiz 1 time. If the entire class performs at a 95% or higher, or if you want to say 90% or higher, you're going to give the entire class an A for this quiz or assignment. So the directions are, you create your quiz. If you're going to do vocab words, math facts, states and capitals, students are going to play the game. You'll record the class average. In Quizzes, it keeps track of your class average, so you don't actually have to record it. In some other programs, you might have to record it because it will not save it every day. You're going to provide immediate feedback using the Review Quiz button, and then the students are going to immediately play the quiz again. And you don't have to call it a quiz. You can call it, an activity or an assignment, something like that, just because some kids stress out when you say the word quiz or tests. And then the last step is you are going to repeat the blue square each day throughout the week for days 1, 2, 3 to build that mastery of the content. And then on that last day, they play the game or the activity once. If the score is 95% or higher, they all get an A, and then you move on to either new material, or Friday you can use it as a review day, or just continue on with your lesson. You might be asking yourself, well, what if the class doesn't get that 95%? On Thursday then, I would immediately kind of look at the questions that they are still missing, and then you can do one of 2 things. You can review and have them take it one more time on Thursday. Otherwise, they can take it on Friday one time, and then whatever score they get is the score that's going to go in the grade book. Because this is a gamified way to have students learn, the information such as vocab words or math facts, students want to do good because they want that class score, the average, to go up. So they don't have to take their individual scores for that. Here are some positives and benefits to the protocols. Students receive immediate feedback. As teachers, we know how important this is, but sometimes it's impossible to give the students immediate feedback for homework. It might take a day or two for us to grade all of those papers and get them back to the students. Teacher knows exactly what students are struggling with for concepts, and students get efficient practice. You know, each student is doing his or her own work and not just copying answers from a friend. When I'm working with staff, that's one of the biggest kind of fears, is that either a student is just rushing through their homework, looking through the book, trying to find the answer just to write it down, or they're just copying answers from a friend. And in both of those situations, the students aren't learning very much. With this protocol, you know each one of your students is doing his or her own work. And repeated exposure to the content helps long-term memory. This has been scientifically proven. The more that you have exposure to something, the more you're going to remember it. So instead of just writing out like a vocab word and putting it on a piece of paper, putting the definition and turning it in and being a one and done, that repeated exposure allows your students to actually learn this and keep that content with them longer. It gives more class time to spend on important concepts and frees up Friday for an extra teaching day or a review day. And it doesn't have to be Friday. You can think of that as day 5. And one of the best things is, besides your students actually mastering the content, is you don't have to grade homework or look through a bunch of vocab words to make sure they have the right definitions and the right number of words that go along with that. And I do want to add, I don't really see it as a negative, but this would probably be the only negative, is you will have to set it up in quizzes the very first time yourself. But once it's made, you have that forever. So the next piece is I'm going to show you the student view and the teacher view of what this is going to look like when your students play the quizzes. So this side of my screen is the teacher view, and this little screen here is the student view. There's a couple different ways that you can get the quiz out to your students. The first one is having everybody go to joinmyquiz.com and then entering this code where it says enter a code, and then they can click join. Otherwise, down below, there's this little link icon. When I click this, it copies the link to the clipboard, and then I can open up Schoology or Seesaw and paste that into those programs so that my students can just click on it, so they wouldn't have to type in joinmyquiz.com and then enter in a code. So for this one, I am going to enter in a code. Once I click join, they'll be prompted to enter in their name. So my name is going to be Student Kara for this. There's background music in quizzes, so if you have a student that makes them a little anxious, they can turn this off. And then if you have a student that's going to need the questions read aloud to them, this is actually part of the program where they can click and turn that on. So a few different options that the students are able to look at. I usually start off with a fun one, just so students can understand how to play it. If you've used quizzes before, you're fine to go. So when I read about the Edu protocols, I was really interested to see how this worked. So I asked my husband if he'd be a guinea pig and do this in his science classes, and he agreed. He was actually really impressed. The kids loved learning their vocabulary words like this. Plus, he saw their scores increase and their retention of the vocabulary words stay with the students longer than he had in prior years, having them just write out their vocab words and the definitions on a piece of paper. So I've got my name in here now. I'm going to click Start as the student. And then all my students are going to populate on this page. Since I'm the only one, that's the only person we're going to see. And then I'm going to click Start. So remember, this is the teacher view, this is the student view. So I'm going to just kind of go through here. As I'm working, you can see that it is 100% accuracy. So as the students are going through this, in live view, you're able to see exactly how they're doing. So I'm just going to kind of answer these quickly just so we can get through. And if you keep watching up here, you'll see it go down or go up, depending on how, if we're getting these right or wrong. So the student is done. Once all of them are done, you will see a page that showed up on the side. What I like about this is the students can see they got 3 right, 4 wrong, and they spent approximately 5 seconds on each question. So from the teacher side, I would see all of my students' names down here and how each individual student did. So I can kind of look at the trends of, okay, everybody got question 2, 3, and 6 wrong, or almost everybody got it wrong. So I know those are the concepts that I'm going to need to go back through and reteach. So if you remember, they're going to play the quiz, we're going to review it, the concepts they missed, and then they're going to play it again right away. So up at the top, I've got to review questions. I can see that the average time spent on this question was 4 seconds for my class, and everybody got it right. So I can move to the next one. I can see that nobody got this one wrong, and they spent an average of 12 seconds. Here's the right answer. So I would reteach that and kind of give them a little bit more information on there and continue to go through all of these questions. Once I've reviewed it, I would click play again, and then the students will be prompted to play the quiz again. It says you've been invited to a rematch. They do play again. You'll click start just like you did before, and they'll be put into the quizzes game. I'm going to pull up a couple different quizzes that I did just for samples since we weren't able to get together for this training. So these were done with some staff members. Let me see here. So this is the first one that they did, so my introduction one. I can see that they got 67% accuracy as a group. Quickly, I can look and see how each student did. I can see their scores. And I can also sort by accuracy, first name, last name. If I click View Quiz, this shows the quiz that I created with the correct answers. So I'm going to scoot back to the last one here. I can look at it question by question and see exactly how students did. The overview one is how you're going to look to see exactly how your class did. So when I look at this, I could see that my students really struggled with question 1 and question 4. And then another student struggled with 3 other ones. So I'm going to review those 6 concepts really quick, or those 5 concepts really quick, and then they're going to play again. You could see how your students were doing in real time, which is very powerful as a teacher. And then the second time they played it, they got an 81%. So they went from 67% to 81% in just 2 tries of learning these words. So what we're going to do is I'm going to stop the video now, and then I will have 3 different videos, one for quizzes, one for a program called Blookit, but with that, students have to be 13 or older in order to get an account, and I would have them create it with their school Google account. And then the last one is Pear Deck Flashcard Factory.